Assassin's Creed 2 has endured since 2009 as one of the most popular entries to the Assassin's Creed franchise. Ezio Auditore has become one of the most recognizable characters in both the franchise and the video game world as a whole. Assassin's Creed 2 presented to us the main musical theme of the rest of the series, Ezio's family. The setup, story, atmosphere, setting, and elements provided in Assassin's Creed 2 were simply unmatched. Over the 15-year span that Assassin's Creed has been around for, Assassin's Creed 2, despite its dated nature, is still a favorite for many. Clearly, there has to be a reason for this, or several reasons. Although many may argue that it's not the best, or that there are better Assassin's Creed games, I am of the opinion that it is definitively the best game in the franchise, and genuinely set a standard for what a true Assassin's Creed game should look like. Assassin's Creed 2 released about 2 years after the first Assassin's Creed came out, so in 2009 fans were introduced to Ezio Auditore da Firenze. Assassin's Creed 2 was building off of its predecessor, and in my eyes it did it very properly. Not only did Assassin's Creed 2 carry over all of the good, it improved on all of the first iteration's weakest points. I'm going to break down Assassin's Creed 2 and why it's great from a few angles. Aside from the obvious storytelling and writing, I'll also be talking about gameplay, parkour, assassinations, combat, and more elements that we obviously have to look for in a video game. Firstly, I'll start with the story. Assassin's Creed 2 follows the life of a young man from Florence, or in Italian Firenze, named Ezio Auditore. He comes from the fairly wealthy Auditore family and seems to live life without really considering much or thinking about his actions. He's pretty much what you'd expect a typical rich kid playboy to act like. Ezio's life is changed almost instantly after his father is betrayed by several big heads in Italy. This betrayal leads to Ezio's father and brothers being executed by hanging. It doesn't take long to realize that Assassin's Creed 2 was not holding back on its story at all. Assassin's Creed 2 interestingly took a different approach compared to the first game, and it worked out very well. Where the first iteration gave us Altair, who was entrenched from childhood in the Brotherhood, Ezio was someone basically unfamiliar from the beginning, with a wildly different personality. Altair was more stiff and stoic. In a sense, he's what you'd expect an assassin to present himself like. Ezio was pretty much the complete opposite, but it gave us a framework for proper character development that we clearly see throughout the remainder of the Ezio trilogy. After the betrayal, Ezio and his mother and sister escape to Monteriggioni, where Ezio's uncle Mario lives. There, Ezio trains to become a better assassin. We're set with a strong plot that makes sense. Once again, in the series, yes, we've got a revenge plot, but it's one that makes sense and works well. The revenge plot is presented right with the proper level of motivation. Ezio's desire to avenge his family and carry on the Auditore name makes him a very powerful character. His situation is complicated and very tragic. Despite the hardships, Ezio grows along with the aftermath of the tragedy and becomes the master assassin we see later down the line. Ezio's hunting down of the Templars is also very engaging and interesting. You have a systematic method of doing it. You know who to look for, how to look for them, and when you take down the Templars, it's a satisfying process. We were given the iconic line, "Requiescat in pace," a line that is pretty much the hallmark of Ezio's actions. The stakes of the conflict between the Templars and the Assassins is also presented well. Although the Renaissance and the Crusades are worlds away, taking a shadow organization presented to us in Assassin's Creed 1 and adapting it for a different time and different setting shows that the Templars in Assassin's Creed are adept at becoming who they feel they need to be, depending on the world they are placed in. Ezio's fight against the Templars is also markedly very interesting because there are several layers to the fight, and several characters that play pivotal roles in aiding Ezio in that fight as well. For instance, Leonardo Da Vinci serves as the inventor, and helps Ezio create unique weapons to fight. La Volpe and his role as a thief in helping Ezio fight back was also unique, as it showed that even the unlikely of allies can become the closest of friends. The setup for the resurgence of the Brotherhood, which was by then shaken, under the wing of Ezio, was properly placed, as each character eventually fulfilled their role and became a piece of the Brotherhood as well. Additionally, Ezio's interactions with the people around him are well made. They feel human with naturally written dialogue that's spoken naturally as well. As I mentioned in prior videos, due to video games being multimedia projects, it's a lot harder for them to overlook things like sound and voice acting. So when it comes to Assassin's Creed 2, the voice actors understood how to effectively deliver their roles. With natural human dialogue, it's not difficult to find oneself immersed in the world of Assassin's Creed 2. Near the beginning of Assassin's Creed 2, Ezio and his brother Federico race to the top of a roof. Although the mission clearly serves as a tutorial for the player to learn the mechanics of parkour and running in Assassin's Creed 2, the mission also presents one of the most interesting aspects about the game. Right before the title card plays, the two exchange words.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
Instantly, we are presented with a theme that I found to be a major point of interest for Assassin's Creed 2, brotherhood and the tragedy of life. Not long after this scene, we know that Ezio's brothers and father are killed in an unjust and unfair execution. Life can change instantly, overnight, and without warning. Ezio found himself as a rich playboy one day, a man on the run the next, and then a master assassin later on. Life changes us, but we choose to change along the tide of life in the way we desire. It comes down a bit to the idea of free will and choice. Although life can throw at you tragedy after tragedy, painful event after painful event, there's almost always a way out, and the way you choose to react to such tragedies is what ultimately changes you. Had Ezio chosen to give up, the outcome of the rest of the game would have been different. Rather, Ezio chose to fight back, and as a result, grew as a man in the process. In terms of the world and setting, Renaissance Italy is one of the most interesting and engaging historical time periods, with an equally interesting and engaging setting in Florence. Additionally, getting a chance to explore Venice was beyond fun. It made the world feel alive and the atmosphere unmatched. Its structure of cities and buildings made parkour feel realistic and engaging. Earning money and being able to build up Montergioni was a wonderful addition. It made the game feel more rewarding. You have several objectives, and it encourages you to pursue side quests and explore the world because you can build up your home base essentially. There's a reward system that's put properly in place. In terms of rewards, Assassin's Creed 2 also kept its cosmetics open and purchasable through the in-game shops. You simply played the game, earned money, and upgraded your armor and its looks. It felt authentic and didn't stray too far away from his iconic robes. There's not a ton of customization in the way that we see in video games today, but it was still a proper reward. Plus, considering the fact that this game did come out in 2009, it operated within its means. Veering back to the world for a second here, one of the most complicated things I feel in video games is giving players a chance to engage as though the city were alive. I think that it is quite evident when a city is not very lively in a video game. Now, this can work to the game's advantage, or it can be a major mess. For example, Dishonored's Dunwall is a city destroyed by the plague under the tyranny of a coup leadership. The world is riddled with death and destruction, violence and gore. Had Dunwall been too full of life, it wouldn't have given the same dramatic effect that it did. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, back when Cyberpunk 2077, for example, was very broken near the beginning, Night City was very dead. I personally haven't been playing Cyberpunk recently to see if that's really changed, but from what I recall at launch, Night City was just not very full of life, unfortunately. This is clearly a problem, because Night City is supposed to be the central hub, with a lot of people, and people who are crazy and live life in a crazy way as well. But unfortunately, we only got a glimpse of that. Assassin's Creed 2 achieved what I think it could given the era it came out in, and the technological restraints that existed in 2009. With the cityscape, the structures, the color palette, and NPC dialogue and interactions, I think that Assassin's Creed 2 did deliver a structured world that functioned properly in delivering an atmosphere that makes sense. Mechanically, Assassin's Creed 2 is what I would argue a refinement in regards to what it means to be a core Assassin's Creed game. Not only did Assassin's Creed 2 set a standard for stealth, parkour, and combat that later games would all build off of, it created the atmosphere and spirit of the assassin. We got the foundations of that in the first Assassin's Creed, but Assassin's Creed 2 took that foundation and built upon it something engaging, beautiful, and interesting. Combat was improved upon the first game, and although not as flashy as some of the later Assassin's Creed titles, it was clear that the developers had found a way to take what was pretty decent in the first game and made it much more engaging and interesting. However, I will say that it's hard for me to get past some of the awesome insanity of Altair's finishers in the first Assassin's Creed game, but Assassin's Creed 2's improvements on the Hidden Blade system made it great. Having double hidden blades and being able to actually use the blades in standard combat were a certain improvement over Assassin's Creed 1, which was pretty hard to use the hidden blade in standard combat. Parkour was most certainly an improvement over the predecessor, and it helped to create a great stepping stone for more parkour advancements seen later on in the franchise. Swinging around corners, smoothly traversing over rooftops and wooden beams, and utilizing parkour as a way to get around, and the ease of free parkour runs made the entire game feel much more alive with the core of the Assassin's Creed that we were introduced to back in 2007. The soundtrack and its impact on the game and its atmosphere really does tie into the beauty of this game. Jesper Kyd truly knows how to craft a soundtrack. I do analyze soundtrack quite a bit in games because, like I said before, multimedia projects really need to be good at everything in order to tie it all together. On top of the atmosphere, the characters, the writing, and the gameplay, the soundtrack is equally amazing. In fact, Ezio's family is now the theme of Assassin's Creed. No matter what, you hear that iconic tune and you instantly recognize what it is. It's beautiful but bittersweet, because when you realize how Ezio's life was turned upside down and how his pain fueled his journey, the song has much more of a deeper meaning to it. It's a significant song and one that truly defines the core of this franchise. Ezio's story and his journey into becoming a master assassin is amazing, and despite the fact that the entire trilogy does tie his story up nicely, I still think Assassin's Creed 2 is the most engaging phase of Ezio's story out of the trilogy. Sure, Brotherhood and Revelations gave us new adventures, stories, and improved mechanics, graphics, and combat, but Assassin's Creed 2 gave us so much more. It gave us the beginning of what would be one of the best stories in the entire franchise. However, looking at this game from an alternate perspective, it's clear that there are reasons why this could be considered not the best in the franchise for some. Firstly, I feel like it really depends on what your gameplay preferences are. We know that Assassin's Creed has titles within the realm of RPGs now with Odyssey and Valhalla. So, if you like the RPG system more, I can see why AC2 would not be your favorite. Additionally, Assassin's Creed has explored plenty of historical time periods with plenty of characters. If Renaissance Italy is not your favorite, I can understand that as well and how it may impact your interaction and experience with Assassin's Creed 2. To be quite honest and quite fair, I couldn't really decide on if I preferred Assassin's Creed 1 over 2 for a long time. I think ultimately, the reason why I loved Assassin's Creed 2 just a bit more came down mainly to mechanical things and the varied missions that were available. Assassin's Creed 1 is unmatched to me for a number of reasons aside from Altair, the historical setting, and some of the combat. But I think Assassin's Creed 2 is a much more vibrant and varied title. Mission variation is something I felt Assassin's Creed 2 did properly. Had the missions been pretty much the same as each other like they were in Assassin's Creed 1, I think that it wouldn't be the game that it is today. Assassin's Creed 2 provided side quests, gave a bigger push to the open world style of the franchise, included impactful characters and interactions, customization, and developed something interesting to work with. That's something that the first didn't really do so well. But once again, like I said in my video talking about Assassin's Creed 1, it was 2007, the base of the entire franchise, it was a different world back then. Some might try to argue that it's simply nostalgia fueling why so many consider AC2 the best game in the series. Well, to be fair, I didn't play Assassin's Creed 2 until 2018. So I actually don't have that nostalgia factor going for me. But what I do have is an appreciation for games that are old, even if they are clearly outdated or don't feel as nice compared to the newer games. Yes, Assassin's Creed 2 is definitely outdated. It's not as smooth or flowy and graphically intense like the newer games. It doesn't have that insanely varied combat and massive map that newer games have. But do you know what Assassin's Creed 2 does have? It has what it means to be an Assassin's Creed game built into it. It has that charm of Assassin's Creed. It breathed life into the soul of the franchise and holds the heart of what it means to be Assassin's Creed. No matter what, I can't break my love for Assassin's Creed 2. I can't shake how amazing this game is. Sure, there are plenty of Assassin's Creed games that are much better in terms of stealth, parkour, and all that, but Assassin's Creed 2 developed an atmospheric position that truly gave it an edge over the rest of the franchise, with a very likable, well-written character and an engaging story. And that's why I think Assassin's Creed 2 is not overrated by any means. It's amazing, and it will endure that way for a long time to come. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed that video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe with notifications set to all so you never miss out on another upload. Comment below your thoughts on Assassin's Creed 2. Don't forget to check out my military sci-fi series and my newspaper. The links to all of those are in the description below. And until next time, Symbiosis out.